Hi Stampers, this is super awesome Stamper Shirley Merker. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, USA. I'm excited that you're coming back for day 4 of the 12 Dies of Christmas how-to videos. So let's get started. So you'll pull out the kit that's got the Early Espresso card base in it. You'll also need a few other supplies to complete the kit. I used the Love of Leaves stamp set along with the coordinating Stitched Leaves dies. So Stitched Leaves has got all of these dies in it. I am just going to use those 6 dies. And if you notice, this die set's got 2 of these. So you're going to want the leaf shape that, let me flip this around, that is facing right. And that's the one that coordinates with the leaf shape or the leaf stamp. All right, and then I've already mounted the stamps that I'm going to be using on acrylic blocks. So it's this, oh, you know, somebody told me what these leaves were. No, I can't remember what this one is. I think these are Leaves of the World. So they might not be in your area. One's a poplar. Oh, if I find that thread, I will let you know what these leaf shapes are. So I used those 3 leaves in addition to the Hope Changes Everything. I am using the soft suede ink pad today along with pumpkin pie. So I re-inked my ink pad with pumpkin pie re-inker, but I also used the soft suede re-inker. And you'll see where I use that in a second. All right, so your first step is to pull that Early Espresso kit from your packet and pull it out and see what you got. I gave you a length of this ribbon, so it's the Terracotta Tile Ornate Garden combo pack, so I think I gave you a foot. So I'm going to pull in one that I already cut down to, I do believe, let me see, I cut it down to 3 3/4 inches. I gave you 2 pearls, 2 trio pearls, but we'll only use 1 in the card, so just set 1 aside. And then everything else we will use in the kit. Actually, we'll only use a half of a doily. So set one of the doilies aside and then get your paper snips and just cut one of the doilies at the diagonal. You can use a full doily if you'd like as well. All right. Now, the first thing that I usually do is some stamping. So we need our 2 pieces of paper right here. And actually, you will have 3 because I'm going to use some scrap for my stamping for the leaves. All right, so if you noticed, this Very Vanilla piece does not look like the piece in your kit. So you're going to want to grab your pine wood planks embossing folder or something similar that's got a woodsy look. And I'm going to move some things out of the way here while we are assembling. Grab your soft suede or your Early Espresso woodwork, sew wood, a crumb cake. Oh, open that up. And sorry about that squeak there. You are going to ink up your embossing folder directly on the embossing folder on the side that's got the Stampin' Up! Copyright Made in China. And that's the side that's ridged. And it doesn't really matter if you ink up the other side as well. Okay. And then you're going to place your Very Vanilla on there and try to do it straight. I like things, if it's got a straight look to it, things need to be straight on your paper. And then press down and take that to your embossing machine and run that through. So I'll be right back. Ran it through. Now pick it up and see what happened. The magic of the wood grain got transferred to your Very Vanilla piece. All right, so we're done with this. And your embossing folder, you can just run underneath the sink and then just let air dry and kind of blot it with a lint-free towel. All right, next step would be to do some other stamping. Like I said, you would have gotten 3 pieces of this Very Vanilla. I'm going to stamp on some scrap for my leaves, but we also need to stamp an inside sentiment. So let's get the inside sentiment done. So I am stamping that in the pumpkin pie ink, and I just want it at the top today. Usually I put a sentiment in the center, but I thought this sentiment was good for the top. Okay, next, set that aside. Now we are going to work on our leaves. So like I mentioned, you can grab your scraps and save that third piece of Very Vanilla that I included in your kit for something else. So I'm grabbing my scraps. I'm going to pull my soft suede re-inker back so I can see my lid. Get a few more things out of the way here. And I'm going to put this on the side so you can see what I'm doing. I placed one re-inker drop in my lid already. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that your stamp is clean and then press it into your pumpkin pie. So this one I did just straight, no re-inking around the edge. So let's do that. And then this one right here, and again, I'm not sure if I clean those off. I don't think it matters. Re-ink it in your pumpkin pie. Oh, and I forgot to mention that you'll have to get a sponge dauber or a sponge square. So what you're going to do is dip it into your re-inker, and then you're just going to lightly go around the edge of your leaf. And kind of work it in. I didn't want anything that was too dark. And I actually used one re-inker drop per leaf. And part of that was probably because it was sinking into my sponge. And every leaf that you color this way is going to be a little different. There's no right or wrong. There. So it's a little darker today. I'm going to pull this up to the camera again. You see all those streaks of color? That's because I re-inked right away on my ink pad in the pumpkin pie, and I didn't move it around. And by that I mean I can probably re-ink it again. It was my pad was really dry yesterday. I'll show you what I mean. I re-inked it, and I didn't move it around. I moved it around a little bit. I just kind of went like this. And that way you're going to get some streaks on your leaf. So let's do another one now that I've re-inked it. So now you can see the streaks. Hopefully you saw those a little bit. And then there's a lot of ink at the top. I'm going to use my sponge and kind of move some of that around. And that actually is going to change the look of that. All right, and I'm going to have to put another re-inker drop in my lid. That's just the soft suede. So here's another use of your re-inkers. This is kind of a modified rocking and rolling. If you don't want to get your pumpkin pie in your soft suede pad, here's how you would do that. Okay, so let's stamp that one and see what happens. There, look at that. So that looks more like what I did last night. I think my ink must have sunk into my stamp pad overnight. So much darker on the edges and much darker in the center. I like that. Okay, and then I did one of these smaller ones as well, the same kind of technique. And why don't I ink it on a spot where I didn't pick up ink already, so I get some streaks. And then I'll put another dab of, oop, that was the wrong color. Put another dab of, I'll have to wipe that off with the Kleenex when I'm done so I don't get pumpkin pie everywhere. Put another dab of the soft suede right there. And for this one, I would probably try to go one way, like dab it one way. So this one's going to be much darker, and that's okay. So I'm dabbing towards the tip and not the stem. Let's see what that one looks like. Pretty. So here's two others. I don't know if you noticed on my scratch sheet. So here's two that I did last night. This one looks similar to the one I just did. And this one I did pumpkin pie, stamped in the pumpkin pie, and then I just filled in the center. And there wasn't enough bleed area for that. For me, I didn't particularly like that one. Although I'm just tucking it under, so I certainly could use that on a card. All right, so once you've got 3 different shapes, you're going to take it to your die cutting machine and cut those out. So that's what I will do next. And I will clean that up as well. Okay, I'm back for a tip on how to die cut using these framelits. So get your magnetic platform out and pick a plate that's a little, the one that's more flat. This one's a little bit bowed that I had on there. Okay, and now you place the outer one over your shape. Get it lined up where you'd like. I'm kind of looking at this little opening here to make sure it's within my stem. And then zhuzhing that in place. And then this is just going to go in the center. I just kind of plop it in there and move it up a little bit, making sure it's kind of evenly spaced around the edges. And then the long one. And that one goes in the center. And the center creates little stitching. So that's what I love about this set. There's stitching automatically built in. And just this one a little bit. There. Then I'll put my plate on top and run it through my die cutting machine. Trying not to shift my dies as I bring it over to my machine. Okay, cut them out. And here's the big reveal. So see that? And then the outside is stitched as well. So if you cut your shape, you know your shape, I cut it economically. You can certainly use the negative as part of your design. All right, so pull this one off. So they all do that outer shipping on the negative, or outer stitching on the negative. Okay, and I'll just throw those back on the plate so I don't accidentally lose those. And get that out of my way here. All right, so you can see the outer stitching, and then I'll pull these up to the camera. There is stitching. Here we go. There's stitching on the center of the leaves as well. So these we're not going to use. If you can use them on your card, you're welcome to do that. All right, so I think I'm about ready to start assembling. So pull your supplies back in. And I did something a little different on this card. I decided to line the inside. So I'm going to show you both ways. That looks a little plain, but I couldn't get the leaves stamped on there to look nice. So I decided after I taped that down, I was going to line the inside with a piece of the soft suede as well. So let's go ahead and tape those down. So that's the inside. See, I think it looks just much more polished and finished look than just a plain matte for that one. All right, and then the outside's going to be the soft suede, but don't tack that down because we're going to have to custom cut off your strip of Early Espresso. So your next layer to attach would be your embossed piece. Ink embossed piece, right? I don't know what this technique is called, the ink embossing. All right, and then just towards the bottom, that's where the strip will go, and you'll need to custom cut that off. So apply adhesive almost to the end, not quite, unless you like to get adhesive on your scissors. I'm trying to get that straight. and then flip it over, use your paper snits, and custom cut that off. All right, next layer is going to be your doily that we cut in half. And let me see, you could certainly do the full doily as well and not cut it in half. I like the half doily. You've got 2 doilies in your kit to do whatever you'd like with. Okay, and then next layer would be your terracotta tile ribbon. So I cut it just to the width of the Very Vanilla, which is 3 3/4. You can also custom cut that off. So I would you could maybe start with building with the ribbon first if you just wanted to custom cut that off. Your Very Vanilla is not going to be the exact size on all pieces, and that's because I cut a 8.5 by 11 inch piece down into 6 equal pieces, and it doesn't work into 6 equal pieces the long way. And if you've followed me before, I've shown you how to cut your paper down about evenly. So it usually doesn't matter how wide that is. I digress. Okay. All right, next layer is all of your leaves. So you'll need to decide which orientation you want your leaves in. So what I did was all the stems will meet, and kind of the long leaf and the short leaf create a V pattern. There's one V, there's the other V. And while things are moving around, we can flip that over. I'm going to do 3 lengths of adhesive because this is going to get pretty heavy. And then this leaf over that. So we're going to do 2 pieces of adhesive over that because it's a bit wobbly. And then I gave you a maple leaf. I punched that from the Early Espresso. And that was from the Autumn Punch Pack. There were 3 different shapes in that pack. So just attach that with the glue dot and kind of face it up to the left. And then find one of your trio pearls. Aren't these elegant pearls? I love these pearls. And then I just lined each of the 3 pearls up with each of the 3 prongs in the maple leaf. So there you go. This is the sample card, and this is the one we just created. And gosh, I had another tip to share with you, and it just kind of flew out the window here. So maybe I'll think of it as I keep on talking. Oh, I know what looked kind of weird. I actually had a circle in your, let me pull this up. I actually had a circle in your kit, and I placed that underneath, but I see I covered it almost totally up. So your circle would go underneath as well. And I used it just kind of as an anchor point. You can have a little bit peeking out right there. How's that? And yeah, I totally covered it up when I made my sample. I know I was making the sample late last night. So you can decide if you want a little bit of the Early Espresso peeking out there. It kind of ties the card base in, the strip, and then the circle. So I have a little bit of it peeking out right there and there. All right, still have no idea what I was going to mention for a tip. So let's pull in the catalogs. I like to do a catalog tour and show you where all the products are that I used in this kit. So August to December catalog. Page 15 are the beaded pearls. You get trio of pearls, and oh, it doesn't list how many pearls. Let me get the package out here. There's 18 pearls for $8. All right. And then the maple leaf punch, like I mentioned, is part of the Autumn Punch Pack, page 46. Page 49, here is the stamp set, the Love of Leaves and the Coordinating Stitch Leaves dies. purchase as a bundle and you get 10% off the individual prices. So make sure you enter the item number, the bundle item number, to get that special deal. And then I wanted to point out in the back of this catalog are indices. So, and they're picture indices. So if you don't want to look through the whole catalog, but you know you want to look for the Gnome for Holidays samples, you can look at the pictures, and here's the Love of Leaves, page 49, and easily find your products. Okay, and then I've got the annual catalog here, some pages marked there for some supplies that we used. I want to point out that the pumpkin pie ink pad is what I used from the Regals, and the early espressos from the Neutrals collection, and that we also sell the reinkers for our ink pads as well, same pages. Then the terracotta tile ribbon I used also comes in a combo pack with an old olive spool. You get five yards of each color in that combo pack. It's number 7 on page 160. And then the Pinewood Planks embossing folder is on page 185. All right, so this is, did I mention the video number? This is video 4 of the 12 Dies of Christmas series. So I hope you're enjoying creating along with me and using the supplies in your kit. So if you're here on my YouTube channel, make sure you click the subscribe button and the bell to be notified when I load new content. And find more details about this Kits in the Mail program on my blog at superawesomestamper.com. Thanks for stamping with me today, and have a great day. Bye.